Thank you very much. Super. So I've got some apologies today. So Alex Colhoun, our clinical director, is in theatre today, so unable to join us. And Kevin has taken a well-earned day off, so he's not able to join us. Although we do have the pleasure of a video of Kevin later on. I will save the suspense for that one for you all. He's thrilled. Yeah, apologies. And I'd like to also introduce you all to Hannah as well, for those of you who don't know. So Hannah Brown, who's on the call, who's currently our matron for our day units, is going to start as our lead cancer nurse on the 17th of October. So fantastic addition to our team. And I did, I think, slightly scare Hannah this morning by saying that she'll get to do the next one of these. So welcome, Hannah. Super. So Hannah will do, no doubt, an induction, and will no doubt come around and meet lots of you on her travels. So
definitely looking forward to it.
Lovely, thank you very much. So if I share my screen and hopefully get the right one, you should all be seeing, our briefing slides. Lovely. So in store for you this morning, we've got Elaine and Carrie with us as always to give us an update on the Cambridge Cancer Research Hospital. Kevin's done some slides around governance, so things like incidents and risks and policies and things that we wanted to share with you. We've got the Cancer Support Service to give us an update on their ever expanding team, which is fantastic. And then Kevin's riveting video is on the nhs.net transition, for those of you that are not IT savvy like myself and just wanted to curl into a ball and hide at the thought of having to do this. Hopefully Kevin will make it easier for you with some step-by-step instructions. As always, please put any questions that you've got, any comments or anything in the chat, and we'll try and keep an eye on those as we go. But if not, there'll be an opportunity to ask questions at the end for any of you that want to do. So I'm going to hand over to Elaine and Carrie, please, if that's all right.
Hello, so I'm going to start off just to give you an update on the work that we've been doing so far and touch on the interiors, and then Carrie's going to take over for the next two slides. So if we can go to the next slide. So just an update on kind of like where we are. So it's, as some of you will know that have been involved, it's just a really rapid period that we're going through at the moment as part of REBA 3. So over July and August, we've run 20 meetings to go through the department layouts at a 1 to 200 level, and then also we've gone through 1 to 50, 24 rooms at that 1 to 50 kind of like level, and just a grateful thanks for everybody that's been involved. We still have some exceptions that we need to work through, but we are close to kind of completing those elements of work, and we are talking with individuals around how we can close those off. And we've also been involved with working with the estates team around kind of like the design, how it's going to work from estates and facilities point of view, from all sorts of things to gauging sizes of linen trolleys that will need to go in, disposal holds, waste strategy, etc. So a huge amount of kind of work going on. The ground floor has taken substantial changes. The PET scanner has been removed, because agreed that that wasn't something that is needed in an emergency situation, and equally it's something that is funded regionally and probably wouldn't have been in this building for a long period of time, so we will continue to access PET from the main site. This has enabled us to significantly increase the size of the kitchen, which will help us to kind of gain our aspiration to have a good sized kitchen that will be able to cook fresh food to our patients and also for our staff working in the building. So that's a really positive move. We've also, on the inpatient floor, we've been able to create a small therapy space on there as well. So our patients that are going to be having OT or physio support as part of their rehab before kind of going back home, we can start that process with them. So again, something that will be really positive for our patients. And we're just having some ongoing conversation around radiology, just a little bit more reconfiguration, particularly around where the MRI scanner is going to be placed in kind of like that kind of template. And then also thinking about the reception, because patients that were coming through that area, if they're being given something before their scan or afterwards, there is a slight increased risk of them having a reaction to that. So it's making sure that we've got good visibility for them. So that's something that we're just still working on. They're the kind of the main things around the ground floor that are left to resolve. And then also we've started our work on interiors and wayfinding. And so if we go to the next slide, I'll give you an idea about the work that has been created so far. So we've got a small group from within the trust with the arts team and staff and patients around the interior strategy. So working with MBBJ, these are the kind of ideas that we are having so far around what the interiors of the building might look like. So public spaces, you can see there on the left hand side, this is from the ground floor, the kind of a rather grand staircase taking us up to the outpatient space, also supported by a lift, so that if patients don't want to kind of go up the stairs, they don't have to, but and making that a really nice double height space with the light coming in and going for this kind of greens and natural kind of like timbers, etc., throughout the building. The one in the middle, that's looking at the end of a clinical couch within an examination room, and looking at kind of like the curtain design and what the wall art might look like. And then we've also got some semi-private spaces around waiting spaces as we go through kind of like the building. We've had some great feedback from patients around the chairs. They look really nice, but not easy to get out of if you're got kind of mobility issues. So things like that will kind of like change. And then we've got one of the single patient rooms there again on the bottom left. And then also how that might look in staff rest spaces. So the bottom picture there is staff rest with having a dishwasher and a fridge, and kind of trying to kind of make it look less cluttered and hiding things as much as the budget will allow us to make it feel like it's a restful space, and then using art on the walls in those kind of like spaces and thinking about the furnishings. And then on the right hand side again, thinking about our color palette, so trying to have something that will complement throughout the building, and probably looking at how colors zoning will kind of help with wayfinding as well as we kind of like move across the different levels of the building. I think we've got another arts, we've got a meeting this afternoon with our patients so that they can have a more voice around this, and then next week there is another interior meeting, and also we were keen to bring this to a staff reference group once we've got the ground floor kind of entrance designed as well. I think it would be quite nice to start also with that, so as staff you can think about coming into the building initially and then how it will feel for you. So we'll be bringing that to a group to you in the future. I will hand on to Carrie.
Thank you very much. So yeah, you can move it on, Ellie, that'd be great. Thank you very much. So after what has been a lot of work on these 1 to 200 plans and 1 to 50s, we're now about to start the next patch of work, which is trying to address all the other rooms in this building, which we haven't covered through the standard room design. So there are about, in total, there are over 600 rooms in this building, which we have to sign off an equipment list and look at the individual layout for. So that's the process we are going to be starting from October. We are expecting, given October is pretty close, the architects will be providing us with drawn out areas of another batch of rooms next week, and then the following week there are the start of the user group meetings where we will go through those rooms in detail with people. So some of you will have been, well, actually quite a lot of you will be have been invited to those meetings, and then we have a further set in November and then a further set in December, with the aim of signing this off helpfully right around Christmas. So a lot of detail still to go through, and your help, and I know a lot of you put in a lot of time and a lot of thought into this already, and again, thank you very much. But your help in reviewing equipment lists and looking at these room designs as they come up is going to be really important. So some of these rooms include some of the spaces we haven't looked at before, like office spaces, changing rooms, the day rooms on the ward, and then equally some which we might have looked at a little bit before. So like we've looked at some of the day unit spaces. Well, this will be all of the day unit spaces, including apheresis, CAU. So lots more for us to consider. And yeah, and as Elaine said, we'll be continuing to work on the interiors and see a bit more of the wayfinding, which we haven't seen a lot of as yet. If you could move it on, Ellie, thank you. So whilst there's lots of progress and lots to do, still some hurdles to overcome in this project. So the business case process continues, and we obviously need to keep that going at the same pace so that we get the sign off from the local, regional, and then the national teams alongside the Treasury sign off. And some of our finance colleagues are working, and the rest of the project are working very hard in getting that commissioner support at the moment, as well as finalising the outline business case so it can go through that process. I think you'll have seen from what Elaine and I have touched on, the pace of this programme is quite ferocious, and we're having to go through this design at certainly a speed which is quite challenging, and how we keep you all engaged and get the right information from you on this timescale is certainly challenging. And as we know, the floor area, a fixed floor area and lots of things to go in causes us headaches every day in terms of where we can fit all these details and making sure that this is a workable building. But we are getting there. So, and I should say something about cost, otherwise that would be inaccurate to say that cost is a big factor in what we can do here, but that's part of our role, to try and get that balance of putting forward what is right for the services and right for our patients within what is going to be, as ever, a limited financial envelope. So hopefully over the next few months, with lots of things you can get involved in. Our user group meetings on the rest of the room design start from the week of the 10th of October. We are going to arrange another staff reference group to look at the interiors. Elaine and I, along with the comms team, have just started doing a couple of visits to different parts, physical visits to different parts of the building, and we met some people this morning in outpatients. That was really great to see people there, so hopefully we can do that again. Next Monday we're going to the wards to stand outside D9 for a little bit, and we've got our patient advice group continuing to feed into the project from the patient point of view. So lots going on. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kerry. Any questions for Kerry and Elaine, please pop them in the chat. I think you're going to disappear, aren't you, to another meeting? But I will quite happily send those questions to you. I think the one thing I wanted to point out here is that the cancer hospital will be amazing, but it will not be the only place cancer patients will go. So I think the concerns that people have had around the PET scanner not being there, our patients will absolutely have access to a PET scanner. It just physically doesn't need to be in the cancer hospital building. And I think it's really important to, our patients will be still across the whole of the Addenbrooke's site as they are now. But we have to make some fairly tricky decisions about what needs to be in that building and what doesn't. And it doesn't all fit, unfortunately. Super, thank you very much. I shall move us on. I think you've got me next talking about governance. So those of you that are involved in various different meetings around the Directorate, or maybe you've heard about governance but you're not entirely sure what it is, and I will put my hands up and say I don't think when I started in my previous jobs I was ever quite sure what governance really meant. It's been really, the myths have been dispelled for me at Addenbrooke's. It's all those things that we do to try and keep ourselves safe and keep our services having a really good quality outcome for patients. So one thing that I'm sure you'll all have heard of are incidents, and you should be reporting any incident, anything that's not quite gone right, anything that's been a near miss on our QSys, our incident system. Some of you may have heard of it called Datex. We call it QSIS here at Addenbrooke's for some bizarre reason. And we track our incidents every day, every month. We produce regular reports on them. And we've just circulated here some graphs for you to show what we keep track of. So we count the number of incidents that we are reporting. And I think the one thing I really wanted to get over to you all is that having incidents is not a bad thing. I would be really worried if we didn't have incidents, because for me, reporting it and learning from them is the most important thing. No service is 100% safe and perfect. So it's really, really important that we report them. The bottom graph in the bottom left-hand corner here shows you that actually we normally report most of our incidents within a day of them happening, which is absolutely the right thing to do. On occasion, we might have some that are reported later due to maybe the nature of the incident, but it's really important to report them as soon as you see them, witness them, experience them. We then track by specialty what our incidents are, how many we've had. And again, there'll be different reasons why some specialties have more than others. So I'll point out radiotherapy, who are fantastic at reporting incidents, and they always have. So for oncology, they're always high numbers, and that's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean that they're an unsafe service in any way. They're just really good at reporting any slight change to their service, anything. If a patient doesn't respond well to a treatment or anything, they will report it. Probably the one that worries me most is this bottom right hand graph, which is how long it takes us to investigate and close incidents. We should be closing them relatively quickly, sort of within the first 20 days. And you can see here we've got some incidents that are open over 62 days. In fact, we've even got some that are open over 100 days. And for me, that worries me because we've not had that opportunity to learn from what went wrong. How could we stop it happening again? There will be all sorts of reasons why these incidents haven't been closed. So some of them require input from other specialist services outside cancer, even from other trusts, other organisations. But it's really important that we've got a good incident review process working. So all of these incidents are all available for your teams. And what we normally do then is we will circulate these around, and we like to do these learning bites, which you might have seen come out from the trust. And we've included a couple of examples here of learning bites from incidents that are outside of our directorate. So a patient who had an unwitnessed fall and fractured their arm, and they're really good at saying, why did it happen? What have we learned? And what can you do about it? So every single one of them, every single one of us has a responsibility to learn from these incidents and to think, can I change anything in my practice that will stop this happening again? And what we're going to try and do is start to circulate some of these learning bites for incidents that have happened within cancer as well, so we can start to learn from some of those. Unfortunately, we've had a few incidents of moderate harm recently in our haematology bone marrow transplant team. And actually, the things that have happened there, delayed appointments, us having too many patients and not enough space to put them, I think we can all learn from across the patch. So there'll be really good ones to share so that we can try and reduce incidents happening again. We've then got risks. So a risk is usually something that we've identified where we say we think there is a risk of, let's say, our staff going off sick if we don't replace our post when people leave their jobs. We will put too much pressure on staff. So we have risks for all sorts of things across all of our teams. You can see at the top here, this is what we've got in terms of number. Anybody can create a risk. If you think there's something in your area where there's a risk, you have to say what we've already done about it. So how can we try and reduce that risk level down? And then what further do we need to do? And you can see here the ones that really worry us are the significant risks, the ones in red. So they're the ones that are our highest risk that we're most concerned around. And you can see where they're spread across our teams. We also then have some risks that we call them accepted risks. So there may be things that we've tried to reduce as much as possible, but we know that there is still a risk of it happening. So a really good example to that is a needle stick injury. We really try through training and through safer sharps to reduce our needle stick injuries, but we know unfortunately it may still happen at some point. And those risks, again, we review them just to make sure there's nothing else we can do, but they do remain there as an accepted risk. This is a bit of a squidge slide, sorry, but this is all of our significant risks that we've currently got at the minute. And when we share this afterwards, you can have a wade through there to see if there's anything you recognise. There's a huge variety of stuff on there. It really is across all of our services. Those of you that particularly work clinically will notice on there, there is the delayed CT scan or imaging reporting is on there. There's stuff about staff sicknesses and covering all of our vacant posts down to cancer waiting times. It's all on there. So they're our highest risks. If you feel in your area that something is a really high risk and it's not on that list, you need to be raising it up through your line manager and up through our departmental meetings. And then we can add things to the risk register and make sure we've got actions on them. Another element to our governance is health and safety. So again, really important, particularly more for our clinical areas. And there are health and safety audits. So Michaela, who you'll all know, will be coming around to do some health and safety audits in all of our areas. And I really, really want this to be a positive opportunity for us all to learn and improve our areas. This should not be I don't like the word inspection. We don't want to, I'm sure Michaela won't come around the clipboard and mark you all accordingly. This should really be an opportunity to improve our safety for our patients and our staff in those areas. So there's a schedule of dates there that she'll be coming round, and I'm sure she'll be in touch beforehand to let you all know when she's coming. We've then got some actions following those health and safety inspections that we've done. And again, these are all really to help you improve your areas. There's say a huge range of actions that we've got on there. And those areas will know what they are. But just to show you that we do take note when there are issues within our clinical areas of things that we need to include. There's, you know, electrical items being pat tested, there's first aid boxes, that sort of thing. There's a huge wealth of actions. Again, we have health and safety risks, so these are slightly different. This is, say, around environmental risks. That again, there's all sorts of things on here, but we keep a log of these in your local areas and are able to track those through. So again, if you think there's something in your area that hasn't been picked up, please flag it with your either your deputy ops manager or your matrons, and they will pick those up. And then our favourite topic around governance is our policies and documents. So those of you who have the pleasure of receiving the chasing emails every month, we have a huge amount of documents, policies, patient information leaflets that are on our QPulse on-call net system. We also then have policies in Merlin. Unfortunately, we have a huge amount that are overdue. So the red on these tables are policies that are live on our systems that you can access, but they actually are beyond their review date. And some of this is because we seem to have policies for everything under the sun. Some duplicate, and we haven't really had a great way of tracking and making sure that we don't have that duplication, which we're trying to work on now. The other element is that there are now so many policies that trying to review them all within the timescales is a full-time job in itself, I think. So lots of teams are really struggling to get their reviews done. It is really important, particularly if these policies are around clinical practice, that we are, you know, that the policies are relevant and that we are practicing safely and not working off old guidance. So there are lists that come around to everybody to chase any overdue policies. And I say it's really important that you distribute these in your teams amongst, you know, everybody does a few, excuse me, to make sure that we can get them done and up to date. Equally, if you've got policies in your bottom drawers on your desktops, wherever you keep them all, it's really important to get them onto Merlin and onto QPulse. And you can do that by contacting the QA team. What else did I have? This is just our documents that are overdue from before 2022. So these should have been reviewed before 2022. You can see there we've got 216. Excuse me, I'm going to get a frog in my throat now. And you can see the teams there. It is mainly HEMONC who do have a large amount of policies on the system, so they do end up with a large amount overdue. But it's really important for us to understand what are the risks around those policies. Do we need them all? Can some be archived? Are they now old? And really try and get those up to date. And then the last thing that we do in governance, and we probably don't do this as well as we should do, is we collect comment cards, so patient experience, positive comments. We look at complaints, and we really want to try and do some work on learning from complaints, but also where we've collected some fantastic feedback. This is mainly for oncology and haematology. We want to be able to do that across urology, breast and gynae as well. So you can see here, these are some comment cards for apheresis and for the onc day units. And there's some lovely comments in here, and I'm really keen that we share the lovely comments to remind ourselves that we do a great job, and that we do provide patients with that really great quality experience, and we don't just focus on the negative all the time. I'll change onto that slide. You can see radiotherapy, oncology and CAU there. I've got some fantastic comments. So we really want to try and promote those a little bit more, collect them for all of our areas, and try and learn from some of our patient complaints as well, where we can share that practice. So that's all that's involved in governance. I would say it's as simple as that, really. We just need to try and make sure that all of our staff are aware that if you do see something, or you experience something that you're concerned about, you can report it as an incident. The incident form on QSIS is really straightforward. You fill in as much of it as you possibly can, and try and keep it factual, and then that will be picked up and investigated. And your matrons and your DOMs and senior people within your teams will then process those through investigations. And if it needs other actions, such as business cases, additional staff, if we need equipment, that's where those actions come from. So really important to understand governance. I think what our plan is we're going to try and bring some focused governance to the next few of these sessions so that we can do some of that shared learning. And I know Michaela circulates a governance newsletter as well, which will come out. So have a bit more of that in-depth learning. Just thought it was a helpful taster. Super. So moving on, I'm hopeful Sarah's still on the call. Yes, I can see Sarah, who's going to talk to us about the Cancer Support Service. I think we've got you, Sarah.
Hello there, good morning. My name is Sarah. I am the Senior Cancer Support Advisor, and I work in the Cancer Support team, looking after the information side of the service. I have a set of slides here to talk to you about my work, and they will be shared with you after the meeting. We assist with non-clinical concerns and thank you, Ellie, sorry.
It's me driving, Sarah, just tell me when to move.
Oh, sorry, Claire.
That's all right, no problem.
Okay, so I wanted to give you a brief update of what we do as a service. We help with non-clinical concerns throughout the patient's pathway, and we assist clinical teams and work in clinic and ward areas. We're also available to patients on the telephone and attend anywhere. Next slide, please, Claire. Thank you. I look after the information pod, where Lindsay, our cancer support advisor, is based Monday to Friday. I work with Lindsay to make sure the information supplied is up to date, relevant, and available in different formats to suit patients' needs. We share information on display boards which are situated around the information pod, on awareness initiatives, important subjects such as cost of living information, and also news about the service. I build upon and establish relationships with teams within CUH and with outside organisations to improve our service. Next slide, please. The information pod is located on level 2 of the main hospital building near the oncology waiting area. There are also smaller information pods located in clinics and ward areas which hold site-specific information. Next one, please, Claire. The information pod had been closed for a period of time because of the COVID pandemic. After a team restructure, the pod is now staffed by an advisor rather than by volunteers. I took the decision, whilst checking all the information to make sure it was up to date, to remodel the information displayed. This meant that important conversations are promoted and information and signposting to colleagues and services can be given. Areas inside the pod are arranged to concentrate on work, finances, and support organisations. We have a wide range of information and items to assist, from diagnosis, treatment to life after cancer, and indeed end of life. We have been looking at offering different versions of information such as emailed PDF links and QR codes. An iPad has been installed on the outside of the pod so that details can be securely left when we are busy in a consultation or closed. We have worked collaboratively with organisations to offer items to patients such as head coverings from Something to Look Forward to free packs that are now being given in wards and clinic areas which are supplied by the Lewis Foundation. We've received positive feedback and many repeat visits to the information pod to follow up and ask for further assistance. Next slide, please. After a successful wellbeing event held in August, we had 55 people attending workshops at the Cambridge Cancer Help Centre with Macmillan trained number 7 agents. I'm looking at other opportunities to work collaboratively. Work is being done to update the can-do pages on Connect, and we are evaluating the way we share information on social media and working on the possibility of using additional platforms. Next slide, please. I am here to assist you with the information needs you may have. If you're looking for site-specific information or would like to promote information to patients, we can work together. If you give out information packs to patients, I would like to make sure the information that is being given is correct and up to date. And we may also be able to promote our service in your packs, which in turn means you have less non-clinical concerns to deal with, and we can work together more effectively. Next slide, please. Please refer to our service using Epic. I've supplied an example here for you to take a look at, and our contact details will be in the presentation. Next slide, please. Do I have any questions from anybody today?
Thank you, Sarah. That's fantastic. Does anybody want to immediately shout at Sarah in a nice way, or there's any questions in the chat? Let's see, I'll move the chat. If not, we will collect them anyway, and I can always get them to you, Sarah, if anyone does think of anything afterwards. That's really fun.
That would be great. Thank you very much.
And your contact details are there on screen.
That's it, yeah.
Which is fantastic. It's lovely to see the pod. It looks so different now walking past it. It's fantastic to see, and I'm really, really pleased it's back open for patients. I think my plea is always that it's not just for patients from oncology. I think it's really important that all of our cancer patients from across the trust, you know, who maybe don't wander down to outpatients in oncology if they've been seen down the ATC, but it's really important that we're able to get to everybody, which is fantastic. Thank you very much. So moving on, this is where I'm hopeful to be able to play you Kevin's wonderful video. It is about 20 minutes long, and I'm going to play a little bit of it today, and then we will load the full thing onto our Connect pages so that hopefully you can see the whole thing. What I'm hopeful is that you can play this at your pleasure, I was going to say. And what I did this morning was I had my emails up alongside it, and then I can use his instructions and work my way through this in a step-by-step way. So hopefully this works for you. And let me see if I can get volume. I've got volume, but he's not moving. Oh, I've broken it. This might not work so well. Have you all got a checky screen? Has he gone green? Yeah. This might not work so well playing on a video. Let me see.
Hi, Claire. Sorry to unmute myself. No one can hear him except for you, I think.
Okay.
I don't know if it's worth us playing it in our own time.
Yeah, that might be better. Thank you very much. Oh, hang on a minute. Let me pause him. Yeah, if you guys can't hear it, that's helpful. I have no idea how to fix it because I'm not techie enough. If I load this on, but hopefully that's something helpful for you all. And you can see, as he talks you through all the Connect pages and how to load it in your emails. And yeah, all sorts of other things, how to use Teams and all the different functions in Teams. So apologies, that doesn't play very well. Let me find you back to where I was. Super, I think we've come to the end anyway. Is there any questions anybody wants to raise? Anything now? I'm just going to scroll if I can see the chat. Anybody got anything? No one's going to wave at me, ask me anything awkward that I don't know the answer to. Super, I shall leave it there today. If anybody does have any questions afterwards, please send them through to the Cancer Directorate ST email. I'll very happily pick them up. And just an opportunity to say thank you all for your hard work. It's been an incredibly busy, again, few months since our last briefing. I think the additional bank holiday threw a mix into it that nobody was particularly expecting. And it was lovely to see that all of our teams either were able to move patients around so that we didn't have to cancel anybody completely, or that lots of our teams carried on working on that bank holiday, which was fantastic. So thank you all very much. I think we're going to have another busy few months ahead of us, no doubt. I think there's lots of recruitment going on as well at the minute. I will make a particular plea for any of you that know of anybody from an administrative perspective who might want to get into the NHS. We're really struggling to recruit at the minute. And I'm very conscious that we don't advertise our admin roles very well externally. So if anybody does have anyone, maybe school leavers, university leaver age, who's interested in the NHS, I'd be very happy to talk to anyone, or they can come in and have a look round and maybe learn more about it. We've really got to encourage more people to come and join us. So super, thank you very much everybody for attending. Apologies for the Kevin video, but we'll get it online for you all and hope it's helpful. Thank you all very much. Have a good rest of the day and rest of the week. See you all soon.